nice of everybody to show up and see Coach Satterfield. I know most of you came here to see me, but come a few minutes early and spend a little time with him. Really kind of you guys, out of the goodness of your heart. No, excited to be here. It's always kind of crazy this time of year, knowing first pitch is 72 hours away. When to maybe big league baseball fans, they're just seeing people report for spring training. So it's kind of an interesting feeling knowing you're still working your way out of winter and the bullets are going to fly pretty quick here. But been a great group of kids throughout the season. Had a great semester in the classroom in the fall. We've gotten a lot better. There's a lot more synergy and guys on the same page than we had in August and September. There's been really good growth with that group, so we're excited to see where we are to start the season.
Obviously, it's a new team, and you can't answer this with any certainty, but what do you feel 72 hours from the start of the season is going to be the strength of the team, something you can lean on?
Yeah, there's quite a bit of depth and experience offensively, and I know that's pretty broad, but we've got a number of returners that have had some quality production here, but then also hit a number of guys in the transfer portal who have played really well at a pretty high level. A couple for us at Central Michigan and some from other schools, but there should be 12 to 15 guys that we feel like we can put in the lineup that can be pretty productive offensively.
And then pitching as a whole, I know they were young last year. Is that still a work in progress as your eyes?
We're really inexperienced on the mound. Tommy Boba and Chase Horse pitched quite a bit as freshmen here last year, and they've got some seasoning, but 40 or 50 college innings is not a ton. Seth Loeb came in here as a transfer from Kentucky. He's a senior with about 60 career innings, and so we've got some guys that have pitched some, but we really don't have anybody on the staff that you can look and say, hey, here's a guy who's gone out and been very productive for a season or multiple seasons. I think we've got pieces on the mound that can help us, and I think there's quite a few of them, but there's very little in terms of just proven production.
You know who gets the ball the first game and any rotation there?
Yeah, we're mixing the hat around right now, and we'll see what name pops out. But no, we'll start Seth Logue on Friday. Again, Seth's coming from Kentucky. He's been in some big games, and he's got some experience and has been one of our most consistent guys throughout the year. So he should do a nice job. We'll probably actually start Nate Taylor on Saturday, who's a true freshman, and then Tommy Boba on Sunday. Probably not how we would have lined it up if everything was the way we wanted it to look, but we had some illness over the weekend, threw off some pitcher schedules, so we had to bounce things around a little bit. But those are the three you'll see this weekend. I think Chase Horse will be in some sort of a starting role as we get going here, and potentially Griffin Hughes here and there in some starts. Those are probably the guys that jump out.
You want to go with the starting nine yet, or is that a secret?
I can give you kind of what you'll see at different positions. We legitimately will mix that lineup with probably 13 or 14 guys pretty regularly. And so I don't view it as we have a set nine at this point in the season. And to me, it's actually a really good problem that we have sometimes. It's kind of like when they say you have two quarterbacks, you might not have any quarterbacks. Sometimes if you say you got 15 guys to play, doesn't mean you have any. But we legitimately do have some depth there. You'll see Tommy O'Connor and Josh Cross kind of split time first base DH. Those two guys will hit in the middle of the order, and they're talented, quality offensive bats that'll do some really good things. Luke Sefcik and Loudon Brooks will probably share some time at second base. Two pretty nice players there. Christian Mitchell will play shortstop for the most part every day. Carrington Cross will be an everyday third baseman for us. In the outfield, we've got a really good mix of guys. Dalton Pearson is likely going to start most of the time in center field, transfer from Georgia State. He's been really good this year for us defensively and offensively in practice. Hunter Jesse came from Indiana. He'll play a lot in that outfield. Cole Harding's obviously started here for years. He'll have a big role. But Landon Vitterick has really taken off, a freshman that played quite a bit last year. He's probably our most improved player since I've been here, so you will see him in right field and probably in the middle of our order. And then Corey Klingenbeck and Alec Jones will kind of share that time behind the plate.
We've seen firsthand the uptick in competition across the board here at UC in the Big 12. Can you give me a description of what the baseball is like in the Big 12?
Yeah, watching Wes and his team gives you a little bit of cold sweats. I mean, you come out on Saturday, and I thought they played outstanding basketball, but you play a team like Houston, it's going to be awfully tough, right? And I think we've seen it with basketball recently. They're playing incredibly hard, and to me, incredibly well. I'm not a basketball coach, but it's been impressive to watch, but wins are hard to come by, right? And baseball is not a whole lot different. We may not be the premier conference in the country like basketball. That probably goes to the SEC, but we've had 5 teams in 5 years make the College World Series 5 different teams. And so that shows the depth of the league. There's going to be probably 10 teams in our league with a legitimate goal of playing in the NCAA tournament that can stake a claim to having the talent to be there, and they're not all going to get there. And so it's deep, it's tough. I would say probably the second best league in the country, and with Arizona and Arizona State jumping on board next year, that's not going to change.
You mentioned the depth for this team. Obviously, you look down, you see 5 players named to the D1 top prospect list. What does that say about this team? And obviously, it leads with Tommy O'Connor there. What have you seen from him so far on the offensive and defensive side this offseason?
Yeah, we think we've got some talent and some ability to compete and win. Now, again, in this league, you better, or you're going to be in a lot of trouble. But Tommy certainly, you saw it the second half of last year when he got some regular at-bats, the production he had, and he only got better as the fall went on. Now, I think it's going to be really important that Tommy doesn't try to do too much. You start hearing baseball in that draft year, in that junior year, if you don't get an opportunity, signing bonuses start to go away and those kind of things. And so I think he's got to caution himself from trying to be more than he is, which is a really good player, but he has to be 1 out of 9. But really talented kid. But again, offensively, there's a lot of depth of talent and experience there. But there actually is some pretty good upside on the mound too. And you saw Nate Taylor in that prospect list. Again, we'll start him opening weekend. Whether we see him as one of our top 3 starters right now, I don't know, but shows something about what he's done this fall that we're comfortable giving him the ball. But Drew Erdman, Carson Marsh, Bradley Coulter are all true freshmen that'll get innings, and those guys have some upside. And I think down the road we'll see the fruits of that as we get them seasoned, as we get going.
When people get their season tickets and come watch you play, what style of baseball do you lean on?
Yeah, I've mentioned it, I think, before. I say we'll play fast. I think that's pretty cliche, and so the question then is, what does that mean? I think we want to be very, very aggressive in how we play, and sometimes that's going to be attempting 5-6 stolen bases in a game, but there's games that the defense or the pitching takes that away. There's going to be games that's attacking with base hit bunts. We're not looking to sacrifice bunt. We're looking to pressure you. We're looking to create mistakes. Sometimes that aggression is hopefully getting the barrel out and just hit the ball out of the park a little bit. That's an awfully good way to score runs, right? We ended our scrimmage yesterday with a 106-mile-an-hour pull-side home run off of Alec Jones's bat. It's a lot easier than trying to steal 3 bases, right? So, but all of that should have some aggression and intent. And on the mound, we are going to pitch the guys that attack the strike zone. We're not going to pitch upside over guys that come after the strike zone. And again, what that creates, the ball in play, the ball move, some action. To me, it's a fast-paced style because there's a lot of action that's trying to be created on both sides of the ball.
Any other questions for Coach?
I got
Keegan?
this weekend, first series. What's a success look like for you?
Yeah, I think what I'll challenge our guys with, Jacksonville's a pretty good opponent. They're picked to win the ASUN, which is a solid league. They won 34 ball games last year. Return, I think, a first-team all-conference pitcher on Friday. That'll challenge us. To me, it's going to more be measured by, do we commit to trying to play our style of baseball? And I've had teams with opening weekends that played great. Last year we went to Baylor and won a series, which was great for our team. I've also had teams that went out and laid an egg and went 0-3 or 0-4 that opening weekend in terms of results, and some of those ended up in different directions. They've had success, whether they started fast in terms of a record. But I think what we're looking for from our guys is, are we committed to the things that we've been hanging our hats on since August, whether that's our hitting approach, how we want to pressure you in the short game, attacking the strike zone, making routine plays defensively. If we're pretty committed, and we're going to have ups and downs, right? We're going to make mistakes, but if we look like we're committed to those plans and trusting them even when there's failure, to me that shows we're building in the right direction. If when we hit some of that adversity, we stray from those things, it tells me we got some work to do to really get bought in and in the right direction.
Out of the names you mentioned, I think I heard West Claremont, McNick, Mason, Kings, Dayton, Elder. I'm probably missing one. But how important is it to have these local guys out, particularly when you want people to come watch?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, my hope is if we play really high-quality baseball, it doesn't matter if they're from Cincinnati, California, or halfway across the globe. I think people will probably come out and watch. But certainly we want that connection within the community, and we returned quite a bit of that this year. But I think it was also cool to see a guy like Hunter Jesse, a guy like Seth Logue, who went off to play somewhere else, went to Kentucky, went to Indiana, and have decided to finish their careers here. Now our goal is to keep those guys close to home before they ever do leave. But obviously they've got pride in coming back close to home and playing in front of their family, their friends, their supporters. And if we're going to be really good in the Big 12, we're going to have to recruit a lot of regions, a lot of geographies. But the start of that process has to be in this part of the state.
Any other questions for Coach? Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it, guys.
Don't forget,